Hey YouTube, Gonna Run 13, and putting out a video today. I just recently put out a few videos basically going over a home defensive firearm option and personal protection in a firearm, and specifically through the home defensive weapon, be it with one talking about a pistol carbine like the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, in my opinion, on that being used in that role, to the combat shotgun or tactical shotgun, and I also showed some upgrades that I made specifically to mine. And we talked about how in a home defensive situation, you know, it would be great to have one of these at your disposal to protect your family and yourself during a home invasion. But I want to branch out a little bit more and talk about that personal fighting weapon in a raw situation. Okay? Now, say the shit hits the fan, you know, this is not going to be, I'm not going to say this is going to be a useless weapon, because any weapon will be needed. Any bullet will be needed. I don't care what the caliber or what kind of firearm it is. This will definitely have some good use still in a raw situation and in a home invasion or up close and personal. You know, this will be a great tool still to have. And it does have the capabilities of, you know, reaching out and touching someone with a little distance if you use slugs and so on. So it could be used also for in a hunting purpose. So definitely the shotgun will not be a useless tool, but you know, this would not be a primary weapon of choice, you know, during an SHTF. You know, that's where we transition to the fighting carbine rifle. Okay. Now, with the fighting carbine rifle or fighting rifle, main battle rifle, is a very important tool in my mind. In the prepping world, in any world for that matter. In my mind, the very first firearm for new people just starting to get into this, just starting to wanting to think ahead of where life may lead us, into what situations, and you know, maybe things aren't looking so good. I'm going to want something to protect me and my family. This right here is the most important tool and very first firearm I would recommend anybody purchase. Okay, you don't have any firearms, or you have just the shotgun or bolt action rifle, you use what you got, you make do with what you got, you be knowledgeable and aggressive with what you got, and be able to use that in any situation possible. In my opinion, the very first firearm you do go buy is your main battle rifle, your fighting carbine, your fighting rifle. Okay? Shit hits the fan, I'm going to want that shotgun too. You know, it could be a buddy gun. You know, it could be used in a home environment, still during a raw situation, or be that. But this is my main weapon right here. Okay, this is the firearm of choice. Firearm, the very first firearm I would get. Once I have purchased a battle rifle, I personally would invest in a nice sidearm. Okay. Because, you know, you're going to need your main weapon, you're going to need a primary, secondary weapon. You're going to need your primary weapon, you're going to need a secondary weapon. Okay? I'd invest in a nice pistol while you can. You know, money's an issue, there are different guns out there and different firearms, be it that you can purchase, you know, on an economic level, you know, be it that you don't have a lot of money to spend. You know, you don't have to get the most expensive stuff, but I recommend do research into the firearms that you really want, not just mentally knowing what you want, actually trying these firearms out. You know, there have been times where there was a firearm I really, really wanted until I actually shot it or picked it up and realized it wasn't quite right. You know, maybe not particularly, you know, something that I would want as my main weapon or my secondary weapon. Take the time, you know, do some research into the firearms that you're going to need and you're going to want. And I would recommend going with your fighting rifle and then get yourself a nice secondary pistol also. Okay. On that note, from there you can look into, you know, developing more firearms for your family, your collection, for a raw situation, be it, you know, shotgun would be a good thing to get after that because it's going to fill your role of home defense, like we've talked about, and it can be used in the raw situation. So, shotgun might be a good thing after that. You got different family members, maybe of fighting age, or you know, maybe a teenage son or teenage daughter, or even younger, if needed, or your wife. You know, you start developing primary weapons and secondary weapons for them to use as well. So, you know, buying another fighting carbine rifle would be next in line from that matter. Once you already establish your main weapon, your main secondary weapon or primary secondary weapon, get yourself some home defense. Unfortunately, the AK in a lot of urban environments won't be best for you know, home invasions. I wish I could, but you know, I do got neighbors to think after, and family for that matter. But after that, then I would start looking into purchasing other, you know, tactical rifles, pistols, and so on and so forth. You might want to get yourself a rifle that you can use it as a designated marksman role. Something for some tight, long precision shots. In my opinion, 308 caliber, I'm a big fan of. I do own a couple weapons in the 308 caliber that would be utilized for those long-range precision shots, and that would be a Springfield M1A and also a Remington 700 SPS. Those would be my personally designated rifles for that role. But you could go into buying your other rifles and pistols, start equipping your family members, and make sure they train. Big thing that I always talk about, you train with the weapons you have. Like I said, I don't care if you got yourself a bolt gun, you know, you train with that thing, you make sure you are accurate and precise with that thing in a combat situation. And I am calling combat situation any situation where rounds are coming back at you. Okay, you're not just sending rounds downrange. You've got rounds, you know, whizzing by your head, you know, and you're firing from cover or whatnot. Get yourself another fighting rifle or two. You might want to look into, like in my personal account, where I am using a AK-47 into purchasing other AK-47s. That way you got the unity of the round, you know, more ammo to stock up, or less ammo to stock up with different calibers. Same thing with your pistols, you know, other family members, other people or friends that you know will be in your tight-knit group, your community. Now, you know, personally, you know about, you know, I've talked about what my plans are, and have different firearms and so on. So for different calibers, different firearms that I plan on using as community weapons to help develop a tight community in a raw situation. I try to keep the calibers the same. I recommend doing the same with the AK-47. That's going to be your main weapon. You know, maybe AK-47 is a little too much for your wife to shoot. You know, maybe you want to look into going with the AK-74. You know, the 5.45 by 3.9, and making that your main weapon, and your wife and so on and so forth, or maybe your AR-15, or what you all feel most comfortable with. My wife can shoot the AK-47. She has no problem with it. So she has an AK-47 for her main battle rifle as well, as myself. Now, that's a little bit of a philosophy on going off that personal protection that I talked about. We started it off with personal protection, on the streets, everyday life, from everything from a EDC knife that you may carry to pepper spray to a baton, different weapons that you can use, or your personal conceal and carry weapon that you may carry with yourself, to home protection with a shotgun, or the shotgun and pistol combo that I like to use, or even using a pistol carbine in that role, to now branching out to what we are prepping and preparing for, which is a RAAL SHTF. So in my mind, that's the route I would go with. I would start off, I would get myself a fighting rifle. Very first weapon I would buy, fighting rifle. I would buy myself a secondary weapon, or secondary pistol. Okay, once I've completed these two, my personal weapons, I would look into a shotgun for home protection. I would look into other fighting rifles for my family members, and pistols, and so be it. Another important weapon I would need to add to my stockpile, or to my group, would be a nice .22 rifle. Be very important to take in small game. Cheap ammo, good to practice with. Anybody in your family can use. So a .22 rifle, .22 pistol would be great. But that .22 rifle, I'd also look into getting some kind of firearm for longer range, designated precision shots, be it for hunting also, or maybe having to take a defensive shot from a distance, or an offensive shot from a distance. So that's kind of a little bit more of philosophy video on different protective measures and weapons that I utilize into my planning. I've got more stuff that I want to go on about this route, including our personal plans of my family, be it for home invasions, like I talked about in previous videos. But that's it, YouTube. Kind of would like to get your opinion on what you think also about this route that I'm going. What do you utilize first in a firearm? What do you see yourself purchasing first, or what have you purchased first? For what role do you need that to fill? Do you go with the home invasion route first, or personal protection, so on and so forth? Or not a lot of people have, or there's a lot of people that don't have a lot of money who are just starting out. So preppers in the beginning, preppers on a budget. You can go out and get yourself a nice tactical rifle for relatively cheap. Invest in it. Go the route that I've talked about, and that's my personal opinion. So I'd like to hear what you guys also have to say on the subject. So feel free to comment. Feel free to PM me if you guys got any questions on anything. And feel free to subscribe if you would like. So it's Gunner Run 13. YouTube, thank you for your time, and we'll talk to you later. Oh, sorry. One thing before I end. Once you've gone the route of getting your firearms and everything together, you also do want to invest in getting yourself some gear to manage your ammo. So you want some ammo management, something to carry your rounds and everything like that. So some tactical nylon also you might want, looking at investing in after you buy the firearm, or buy the main firearm and the pistol. You might want to fit that in somewhere. You gotta have to carry it somehow. You don't want to just stuff your pockets with shells. All right, guys, Gunner Run 13. We'll talk to you later.